Welcome to another exciting adventure of We Camp in the Cold. And camping in the cold means stuff breaks. So on this week's episode, our sink has broken. It is leaking. It's not leaking from the metal, it's leaking from the seal that they put in cockeyed around the drain. So I've already loosened it up. Underneath, everything was hand tight like it should be. Everything came off. I just pulled that away right here so I could access this. Then I got the proper tool, a flathead screwdriver, which is the proper tool for most prying applications, and pried it up. Once it came up, I could see that they butchered this completely. There was actually a paper seal on here that shouldn't have been here. And you can see where they got it misaligned, and it is corroded away. There's nothing left here, and that's where our leak was coming from. So I've already kind of cleaned this up about as much as my patience will allow. I'll probably go a little more, and then I will use my flathead screwdriver to not only pry, but to scrape. All right, I have our area cleaned up, and in true We Camp in the Cold fashion, I managed to cut myself while doing plumbing. This rim right here, where it was leaking, is extremely sharp. The other part's not so sharp, so I wonder if that water hasn't worn it down to where that's a sharp edge. Anyway, our next step is to get some of this plumber's putty out, play with it like Play-Doh, make a snake like you would when you were a kid, and then put that around there. Take this piece and push down on it. That's what we'll do next. So I've rolled my putty out and applied it all the way around. Now we're simply going to take this, drop in there, and then when we tighten it down on the bottom, it'll suck it out, and then this putty will push out, and then we'll peel off what we don't need, and then we'll put it back in here. Why? Because we're cheap. So now I am screwing this piece back on there, and as it tightens down, it will pull that putty out. We're tightened almost all the way there, so I'm going to go ahead and pull excess that we have right now off, so I can see kind of how much more we want to tighten. I don't know if I said this before, but when you plumb, you never want anything over hand tight. Now you should be able to take apart a sink and most things with just your hands. If you're having to get out big tools or plumber's pliers, it's probably a little too tight. Unless it's some special thing that I don't work on. But, you know, like I said, I'm working on this in sweatpants, so I don't have to have special tools. And so as you can see, I've gotten tightened down, hand tight of course, underneath. Everything should be hand tight. I peeled off some of this. I may tighten it a little more and peel a little more off. But I think that looks a whole lot better than this. You can see this one's doing the same thing. It's not leaking yet, but I'll take care of that next week. I don't want to be without at least one side of a sink. So we'll let this cure up for a little bit, then we'll tear into this one. And the only tools I needed were these and this, which of course I cut. The almighty flathead screwdriver, so many uses. Plumber's putty, which I've had around for years since I installed a disposal probably 6 years ago, and it was still good, I hope. What I didn't use was these, the pliers of death. If you're getting these out, you may want to rethink if you're doing it yourself. It should be hand tight, unless it's a special fitting. But most plumbing, just underneath your sinks, should be hand tight. I might use these every once in a while, but they dig in. You better have spare parts ready. As always, just remember, doesn't matter when you're camping, but if it's cold, it's right.